I would like to start this video off with a disclaimer. This is not a sponsored video. I did not buy this product. I got it sent to me for free. Someone from the company ICZI reached out to me and asked me if I would like to review the product. But I'm not being paid for this. I'm not being paid to say anything. They sent me this product for free with no strings attached, besides the fact that I have to make a video. So all opinions are my own, obviously, and if I ever do have a sponsored video, I would make a big deal about it. You would know. With that being said, we can start the video. So this is my review of the ICZI USB 3.0 hub, one of many. So starting off with the dimensions, it's probably going to be a little bit bigger than the conventional USB hubs that you see on Amazon nowadays because they've gone pretty small. But this hub has a special feature. Not only does it have 5 USB 3.0 ports, 3 on the back here and 2 more on the front. It also has 2 USB Type-C ports and a power port which interfaces with the included DC 5-volt power supply. Now, at first when I saw this in the box, I thought I had missed something on Amazon, and I did. I just skimmed over it. I did not see that it includes a DC power supply. And so when it showed up, I thought that this thing was required to use this thing, but it's not. I will touch more on that later. Despite having 2 USB-C ports, the speeds are limited to USB 3.0, and I'm going to explain why. Actually, I was meant to say that I'm going to explain what that means. So fundamentally, it's important to know that USB Type-C comes in many different forms. First of all, we have USB-C 2.0. This one is the slowest in terms of data transfer speeds, and it's usually used for charging devices. Then we have USB-C 3.0. Improvements between 2.0 and 3.0 is speed. This one's easy to imagine. Just think of your regular USB-A port, which looks like this, but then it's in this form. We start to see even more capabilities after USB 3.0. USB 3.1 is starting to become a new standard in new devices. Essentially, USB 3.1 introduces faster transfer speeds. And then finally we have Thunderbolt 3. It doesn't even have USB in its name, but it's essentially USB 3.1 with more features. They're found in the new MacBooks and some Ultrabooks, and one thing that you can do with them is you can power them while driving a display, all with a single connection. Now, unfortunately, this hub is only capable of USB 3.0, but that is not to be underestimated. It is still capable of many things. So with that out of the way, the only real way to review this is to run a bunch of benchmarks on it. I happen to have here a USB Type-C external solid-state drive. This is the Samsung T3. It's pretty popular among YouTubers and, well, people who do a lot of work on computers in general and have USB Type-C computers. So what I did for my testing, I'll put an infographic on the screen right now, but I first did a control of just the USB Type-C hard drive by itself, and it's running to the computer from a USB Type-C to a USB Type-A cable. This is the one that ships with the solid-state drive. Then I ran that same cable into a USB Type-A port on the unit and did 3 trials there. I did this without having the power supply plugged in. Next, I did the same test only once this time and with the power plugged in. As I had predicted, there was no noticeable change in terms of speed. Then I tried using a Thunderbolt 3 cable and running that into the hub itself. I did 3 trials without power and 1 trial with power. It seems that power does not affect the speeds whatsoever. I think any difference is negligible. However, in the next tests, there are some pretty, well, I wouldn't say really significant, but notable changes. So for the next 2 tests, I tried plugging in anything I could find around the house. I used a USB powered fan. I plugged in my Pebble watch to charge. I plugged in my phone. What else did I plug in? Oh, also I plugged in a webcam. Yeah, it was really random. This is not super scientific. But I tried running the same test again on the drive, and surprisingly it did really well. There was a bit of an impact on the speed, but it was still performing a lot better than a hard drive. And I was using almost up all the ports. I was using up all of the USB Type-C ports on the hub and all but 1 USB Type-A ports. I did 3 trials of that, and then I did 3 trials again, but this time having the power plugged in. What I noticed was when I did it without having the power plugged in, the fan would start spinning slower when I was running the test. But right after the test was complete, the fan went back to a slightly faster speed, but it wasn't at its full speed. When I plugged in the power, the fan spun rapidly at its full speed. I assume this also means the charging of the units weren't also running at their full speeds without the power plugged in. and that is understandable. The computer's USB ports can only provide so much power. So looking at this chart, I would say that the performance was actually rather impressive. Okay, so now we know some benchmarks and specs on paper. Now, what is this product actually good for? Well, I think it's good for both desktops and laptops alike. Just any device that doesn't quite have a USB Type-C port yet and is still running on USB 3.0. This thing is solid as a standard USB hub. But when you introduce the two USB Type-C ports, with all these new USB Type-C devices coming out, this thing will ensure that you do not get left behind in the dust when everyone switches over from USB-A to USB Type-C, because it's just so much more versatile. You can actually use this device to charge your other devices without having it plugged into the computer, as long as you have the power supply plugged in. So this can also serve as like a charging device, charging station. I thought that was pretty neat, although I would not spend 50 bucks for a charging station that looks like this. So that's it. If you don't have a larger computing device that runs USB Type-C ports on it, and you have something like a USB Type-C phone, or maybe even something like a Samsung T3, I would highly recommend getting one of these if you're not planning to upgrade your machine anytime soon. Although you don't get the perks of USB 3.1 or Thunderbolt 3, you're still getting the form factor of USB-C ports, which means that you'll still be able to charge your phone and use some peripherals. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. I would also like to add that it's been more than 24 hours since I've slept. So there might be a little bit of redness in my right eye, as I've noticed in the mirror. My apologies for that. If it's present in the video, I'll probably just cut fewer shots of my face. What else did I plug in? Oh, also, I plugged in a webcam.